بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأصلي وأسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. Many times we find that people ask this question about what is the difference between Islam and Al-Iman, and likewise the difference between Taqwa and Bir. So we find that these words occur inside the Quran, and we find that many times they overlap and sometimes they separate, and thus we find a principle inside the Quran or inside the Islamic sciences that we find إذا اجتمع افترقا. If they come together, then they become separate. وإذا افترقا اجتمعا, and if they're separate, then they become one word. Meaning that whenever Islam and Iman are mentioned together, then each one of them will take on its own specific meaning. But if they mention on their own, then it encompasses the other one. So if we say Al-Islam, it will automatically encompass the rules and regulations or the arkan sitta of Iman as well. So it can spill over into Iman, is what this terminology, what it means. But if they both mention together, then each one will take on this specific meaning. For example, in the hadith of Jibreel alayhi salam, whereby Jibreel alayhi salam asked that question, Mal Islam, what is Islam? And the Prophet ﷺ then described what Al-Islam is the two shahadatains, وأن تقيموا الصلاة وتؤتوا الزكاة, to establish the prayer, to give the zakah, وتصوم Ramadan, to fast in the month of Ramadan, and to perform the Hajj. Likewise, you find other hadith, بني الإسلام على خمس, the Islam is based upon the 5 pillars. Inside the same hadith of Jibreel alayhi salam, the question is now asked that Mal Iman, what is Iman? And then the answer is given, Al Imanu an tu'mina billahi wa malaikatihi ila akhir hadith, that we find the 6 pillars of Iman. So here we find both words are mentioned together. Each one of them takes on their own separate meaning. Inside the Quran, we find ليس البر أن تولوا وجوهكم. It's not piety to turn your faces towards to the east or the west, but piety is ولكن البر من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر. But piety is whoever believes in Allah on the last day. And then inside there it mentions to establish the prayer, to give the zakah, and to do the other good deeds that are mentioned. So here we find that the word al-bir, or ليس البر أن تولوا bir, encompasses, or here we find Iman encompasses also the pillars of Islam, because Islam is not mentioned inside the same verse. So we find that one word can spill over and encompass both meanings, or encompass both of their characteristics. Just like we find difference between al-bir wa taqwa. So as same principle again, when they're mentioned separately, they both will encompass one another. When they're mentioned together, then each one will take on its own specific meaning. So some ulama mentioned that bir would be the external actions, and taqwa would be the internal actions of the heart that we find. But if they're not mentioned together inside the same ayah or in the same location, then each one of them spills over and encompasses the other one. So this is how we understand such terminology that occurs inside the Quran. And as we mentioned, that each one is specific. Islam is the 5 pillars of Islam. Iman is the 6 pillars of Iman. But we find on occasions inside the Quran, if Allah mentions one, it can also have the meaning of entailing the other one as well, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the tawfiq and ability to hold fast to the pillars of Islam, and to hold fast to the pillars of Iman. وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.